The San Jose Sharks make a big deal by trading away Mackenzie Blackwood to the Colorado Avalanche.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL's Tuesdays episodes. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're breaking down the Mackenzie Blackwood trade, as Blackwood is traded to the Colorado Avalanche for Alexandar Georgiev and some other stuff and a second round pick. So we'll break that down, talk about what the Sharks are actually getting in return, and does this change the Askarov timeline? So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, lunchtime Pacific time. We get news that Mackenzie Blackwood has been traded to the Colorado Avalanche. This was, I'm going to be honest, I was a little bit surprised that it happened now. So just as a reminder of the trade. So the Sharks send away Mackenzie Blackwood for Giovanni Smith, who had just been placed on waivers the day before, and a 2027 fifth round pick. In return, the Avalanche sent Alexandar Georgiev, goaltender, Nikolai Kovalenko, Colorado's 2026 second round selection, and a conditional fifth round pick in the 2025. Colorado, I didn't catch this at first, Colorado also retained 14% of Georgiev's contract. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. The conditions on the fifth round pick, this is via the Sharks. Colorado will instead transfer the worst of their current fourth round selections in 2025, Colorado's own or Vancouver's selection, if at least two of the conditions are met. So this fifth can become a fourth if Colorado advances to the third round of the playoffs this year. Blackwood wins 25 regular season games from the date of the trade to the end of the regular season. It's a lot of wins. Or Blackwood starts 30 NHL regular season games from now through the end of the season, which is very possible. So could be a potential fourth round pick. Let's start from why now and why did the Sharks trade Blackwood? Because I think that's a big question, right? Blackwood is coming off a monster performance from the Florida Panthers game. One of the bright spots since the Sharks acquired him, the 2 off seasons ago from the New Jersey Devils. Remember when people were really mad that the Sharks spent a 6th round pick on Blackwood and now they just got a 2nd round pick in return for him? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But for the Sharks, this was one of, if not your best trade asset. And I can get the plain chicken of, well, what if we wait a little bit closer to the trade deadline where maybe more teams become interested, maybe get an injury. But we kind of already knew the players, right? You knew it was Colorado, who's basically in 2 weeks has redone their entire goaltending group. And Carolina, and even Carolina has been kind of because of they've just been dealing with so many injuries. So it felt very much like it was always going to be Colorado. And if that's pretty much it, why wait? Especially for Colorado, who is trying to make trying to be a playoff team. You have to worry about the Wild and the Jets, and I know the Jets have played a little, haven't been playing the same way, but still, you have two teams who have basically already almost clinched playoff spots between the Wild and the Jets. And yes, I know they haven't clinched, but you get what I'm saying. Like those two teams have just like really have gotten so far out in front and kind of put their stamp on like, yeah, we're going to be playoff teams at this point. If you're the Avalanche, like you can't mess around with your goaltending, which has been atrocious this year, right? You look at right, the Wild and the Jets both at 40 points, the Stars at 34, Colorado's at 32. Like you can't mess around, and I think that was the big reason is Colorado wanted to get this done because they want to have Mackenzie Blackwood for a good chunk of the year, not the last chunk of the year. And I think that's kind of the reason why they really pushed to get this thing done. It sounds like this has been a conversation that's been going on for the past couple of weeks to get Blackwood to, especially with the way the Colorado goaltending has started. Why do you do it now, though, if you're Mike Greer? I think I just don't think they're going to get another offer. And at some point, like you can't just keep stringing along Colorado because they're just going to go somewhere else. And as more teams kind of fall out of the playoffs, like there's going to be other goaltenders. I think there is more potential goaltenders available than there would be teams in need of goaltending. And I think for Mike Greer, you striking while the iron's hot, right? Blackwood has been outstanding, especially since that Sens game where he was very bad in that game, but he's been outstanding since then. And the Panthers' performance was kind of that little cherry on top of just how great he was. So you're striking while the iron's hot. You're getting probably what you're going to get no matter what. And that's the second round pick, I think, is the key part of this, right? And you could have maybe held out for a first round pick from somebody else. But again, like teams that need a first round pick or need a goaltender, they probably don't have first round picks. Just again, looking at who you would think might be in the market of trying to add a goaltender, right? Colorado doesn't have their first round pick right now, traded to the Flyers. Carolina does, but Carolina is really smart and they're not going to give away a first round. Like that team is just really smart and very analytics driven with the way they draft and develop and trade. Like that just doesn't seem like something they would do. Edmonton, maybe if you wanted some, Jeff Skinner or Stuart Skinner, sorry, not Jeff Skinner, Stuart Skinner, who's been, much maligned, but has played well in the playoffs. Maybe you want to look for somebody like to help him out. Okay. Like they don't have a first round pick. Like, and then all the other teams, maybe LA, the Kings, but their goaltending, like, I think they kind of believe in what they have and they believe in their defense. But like most of the teams are pretty set at goalie. Maybe Vancouver, but like I think they're going to be getting healthy here sooner rather than later. And they probably want to just wait till everyone gets healthy before they make any rash decisions. Like all the other teams that are kind of in the playoff hunt or like you expect to go far, their goaltending is like solid. They're not trading away a first round pick to get Blackwood right now. And because they don't have a first, like, and even the teams that do, they don't have a first round pick to spend on a guy like Mackenzie Blackwood this year. So I think for my career, you got what you got. Second round pick always kind of felt fair. And for the Sharks, you're striking while the iron's hot before Mackenzie Blackwood, who has prone to have injury issues. Even here in San Jose, he's missed a couple weeks. He had a couple times last year where he missed, a couple weeks at a time. You're getting what you're going to get from Mackenzie, and I think you were able to get a pretty solid package back for Blackwood. So we'll dig into what the Sharks got from the package. Why I think this is actually a pretty solid deal. And then more importantly, we'll talk about the Askarov timeline and what this means for the Sharks and when we get to see Askarov full time. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Today's episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. If you love sports, you're going to love Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into real money. Whether it's hockey, football, or any of your favorite sports, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the action. Here's why you need to get started today. You can win up to 200 times your money on Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. No need to win. The $50 is guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers fun weekly promotions like Taco Tuesday, where select player projections are discounted up to 25%. Your Prize Picks. This week on Prize Picks, I'm eyeing the hockey board. Look at Jack Hughes for more than 4 shots on goal and Artemi Panarin for more than 1 assist. It's so simple to make my picks. I'm going to have fun with friends while potentially cashing out fast. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $20 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 instantly. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, before we continue talking about what the actual Sharks are getting here, do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, go check out one of the other great episodes here at the Locked On Network. Of course, you have Locked On Fantasy Hockey. So if your fantasy hockey team needs some love, or maybe if you should go target Mackenzie Blackwood in a trade, go check them out, or check out any other shows here in the Bay Area. Of course, you have Locked On Niners, Locked On Warriors, Locked On A's, Locked On Giants. Plenty of great stuff here. The Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. All right. What are the Sharks actually getting? So let's dig into that. You have, of course, Alexandar Georgiev, the goalie. So if you don't know, a little background on him: 6'1", 178-pound goalie. He's 28, turns 29 in February. His contract after the retention, $2.924 million. So really quickly on the retention before we kind of dig into this more. Very smart of Mike Greer, who, again, does not have a retention slot available. Brett Burns, last year of his retention. You have Hurdle, you have Erik Karlsson, 2 long-term retentions. But getting Georgiev under $3 million makes it easier to potentially flip Georgiev for a team that may need again, if you're looking at a potential team, like if you need some help, if they have an injury, whatever, they need someone back, like as a backup, you've already kind of laid the foundation of trying to get a goalie under $3 million. Very smart move by Mike Greer. I did not originally see it, even though I read the email. I was just so excited. But anyway, Georgiev, under $3 million contract this year. So this year, though, he's played 18 games, 3.38 goals against average, 874 save percentage. He's allowed 53 goals. His expected goals allowed are 43.6. Goals saved above expected, minus 9.4. So he is basically let in almost 10 more goals than expected. This is the second lowest in the NHL. The only goalie worse right now is Connor Ingram. And I know goal saved above expected isn't everything, but it's usually a good indicator of who's good. So tough beat for for Georgiev. High danger save percentage 720, which is kind of in the lower third for goalies here. It has been a tough season for Georgiev, which is a big reason why Colorado was looking to dump him. Pulling up his evolving hockey, nothing pretty. It's very below average, which is what you would expect because of the way he's played this year. So for the Sharks, I think what they're kind of with Georgiev, I think what they're hoping is change of scenery can help change something out of him, especially with we know Thomas Spears and has been done wonders. Mackenzie Blackwood talked about like how much he's changed. Devin Cooley, even remember after Cooley got traded here, he talked about in such a short time what Thomas Spears kind of really did to his game. So you're hoping that, which is something insane to think like the Sharks have one of those coaching staffs, is where you're hoping that Spears can work his voodoo magic on Georgiev and just give him some new confidence, because he has been a good goalie like previously. It's not like he just, was kind of bad forever. Like Georgiev has been like a like good goalie at least at times before, and this could just be another Mackenzie Blackwood type of situation where like new situation, even in his first year in Colorado, right? 22-23, like he played 62 games, 919 save percentage, 253 goals against average, 5 shutouts. Maybe this could be a scenario where the Avs just ran the brakes off of him and he is feeling the effects now. He's played 62 games the 2023 season, and he played 63 games last year, where he saw his save percentage drop down to 897 and a 302. In the playoffs last year, better, 914 and 2, or sorry, no, not better, 897, 285. Like, he has been a good goalie. I wonder if he's just been used too much. So hopefully maybe a little bit more even split between Vitek Vanacek and Georgiev. He can at least rebound a little bit. That's at least the hope. So I think the more exciting piece of this is the Nikolai Kovalenko. So Kovalenko, 5'10", 180 pounds, 25 years old. He's on his ELC at 896,000. Kovalenko was a former 6th round pick, way back in the 2018 draft. He has spent the last few years playing over in the KHL and putting up really nice numbers over in the KHL. So like the last 2 years, 2022-2023 season, he played 56 games, had 21 goals, 33 assists, 54 points, and then followed up with 7 more points in 10 playoff games. 23-24, 42 games, the goals dropped down to 11, but 24 assists, 35 points, along with 4 assists in 5 playoff games that year. And he is, I think he's a Mike Greer type of player, like kind of reading here. Actually, before we get to that, sorry, let's finish his stats this year. For this season, he's played 28 games with the Avalanche, 4 goals, 4 assists, 27 shots on goal, averaging 12 minutes time on ice, 52.39% Corsi for, 43.33% goals for. Looking at his evolving hockey stats, playing third line minutes, basically getting some power play time, no shorthanded minutes, which I intrigued on that, and if that changes with the Sharks. But anyway, solid defensively. I think there's something here and I know kind of, again, seeing the chatter of fans and stuff. I know a lot of Avs fans not happy with trading Kovalenko. This is an upgrade over Giovanni Smith, who couldn't even crack the Sharks lineup. Let's get that started straight. Like Giovanni Smith, who, played a handful of games this year. And again, you can't crack this Sharks lineup. I think, though, Kovalenko, he's reading his kind of scouting reports and reading, like what some of his game, like about some of his game tape. Dude plays hard. He's physical, especially for a guy who's 5'10". He plays bigger than he actually is. He's got a little nastiness to him. And he's got some skill. And I think this is that Mike Greer style player, right? Of I'm going to play in your face attitude type of hockey combined with some skill. And wouldn't be surprised if you see that ice time go from 12 minutes up to 14, 15, 16 minutes because of what he could potentially bring. I think his reading a lot of his kind of outlook and stuff, it's definitely a middle six type of guy, which the Sharks do have a lot of those type of projects, especially in their own farm system. But Kovalenko, I think, is a cost-controlled RFA. Not that the Sharks have to worry about that, but he's cost-controlled. And I think he provides an up. You got the better player out of at least that portion of it, right? You got Giovanni Smith, I think, is an upgrade from Giovanni Smith, and I think he can play in the Sharks lineup right now as a middle six guy. So maybe there's that kind of clean costing thing where he gets in, gets some opportunity, and then you see a nice scoring production from him. Wouldn't be surprised if we kind of see the same thing from there. Finally, of course, you get a second round pick, which the Sharks could continually need to take second round picks to go do stuff. So if you want to, again, flip that for something else later on, if you want, so now they have next year, they have 2 second round picks on next year's draft, gives you plenty of ammunition to go do something else with it. So yes, it's going to be a late second round pick. You don't have your third round pick. I think I'd rather have a late second round pick than an early third round pick anyway. So again, don't worry about the third round picks and stuff. You can manufacture those. And the Sharks just did. They manufactured a late second round pick. So we'll talk about Askarov. And I think that's the big question, right? Is, well, do we get to see Askarov now? And we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Starting on the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So you get the hunch in the middle of the game, check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right. Does this change the Askarov timeline? No. Sorry, guys. I honestly don't think it does. So, and right, that's we just want to see Askarov, right? And the Sharks have been very, like, they have not announced it, but they've been very clear with their actions of, this is what we're doing. Askarov's going to play NHL games at some point this year. But one, they don't want to rush him, even though he's very clearly could be playing in the NHL. Two, I think it's a lot to ask any young goaltender, just be like, here you go. It's all yours without much of a safety net. And while Askarov, my kind of thing with Askarov is they really want this I don't know how many times I have to say, they really want this Barracuda team to be very good and to make a long playoff run, which is the one thing we haven't really seen from Askarov, is to make a deep playoff run and play a lot of playoff hockey, which is the one thing kind of missing on his resume, right? I think for the Sharks, they have this plan. They want to have Vanacek and Georgiev battle and kind of share the road right now at the load. And I know Vanacek has been bad in the past couple games, and Georgiev has not been good, right? They still, they're not going to change the Askarov plan. They want him to stay down there right now. And maybe for Georgiev and for Vanacek, they'll have to make a decision at some point of what to do with them, whether it's trade one or maybe you waive one and try to get them down to the minors, which I think right now, nobody is claiming those guys because, one, the salary, and two, you haven't seen anything on film that's worth claiming right now. Maybe you do something like that to get Askarov up, and then you can have an actual NHL goalie playing in the minors with the Barracuda, which is very possible. But I think right now, though, it's very much we're not changing what the plan, right? And I've talked about with Will Smith, right? You're seeing results, don't change the process. And I think for Askarov, who you're seeing amazing results, they're not going to change the process right now for the Sharks. And it's frustrating, believe me. Watching Askarov, it's really fun. But they do really want that Barracuda team to be very good. And maybe that's sacrificing some wins on the Sharks, which is fine. I know last week we talked about the why not us. We can out the window now. This team is very much going to be back in the bottom 5 with this type of goaltending, right? Like it is very clear of we're going to be bad. We know we're going to be bad and we're going to have our good moments, right? But you and I both know the best way to subtly underperform, we'll say, is that bad goaltending. We saw it for years. Martin Jones and some of the other guys, Josef Kornash and some of the other guys that the Sharks called up to throw into games at the end of the season. Like, maybe the Sharks would think we're starting to get out of that top 5 range or that top 4 range a little too quickly here. Let's put the kibosh on that. And I think that's one of the other kind of big takeaways from this is, the Sharks are there's gonna be some unwatchable games because of the goaltending, especially if Georgiev and if Vitek Vanecek can't turn their games around. There's gonna be some really ugly performances here. You're gonna have some great nights, right? You're going to have like nights where Celebrini and Smith do amazing things, but you're not going to get as many of the like Panthers performance where Blackwood just saves the day, makes it a type of game where you have a chance to at least be in it. And I think that's the other big takeaway is any opportunities to potentially at least make a run at being competitive for a playoff spot. I think those went out the door with Mackenzie Blackwood. So, which is fine, right? Mike Grier has a plan. He's going to stick to it. That's one thing couple things we've learned about Mike Grier. One, he can be almost borderline ruthless with some of his decisions. And I mean this, I don't mean this in a bad way, but for example, sending Eklund down at his 8th game, so that way his ELC doesn't kick in, right? When he probably should have been playing NHL games. Decisions like that, where he's thinking about the long-term, what's good for the team, instead of, and he knows getting a top 4 pick in this year's draft where you have Hagens and Schaefer and Misa and getting one of those players to kind of be that last final, let's go piece. That's probably more important than maybe being somewhat competitive in the playoffs, but knowing you're not going to make it. So, but in summary though, I think overall, you got what you're going to get for Blackwood. There's a potential to maybe reap some more rewards from Georgiev. I keep wanting to say, because I have Georgi Romanov and Georgiev. Those two cannot be on the same, at the same team at the same time. Alexandar Georgiev Romanov would be, no, we can't do it. Anyway, so you got what you're going to get in a 2nd round pick, right? You got a solid NHL guy who's has some upside here as a rookie, and you kind of have rights cost controlled for him at least in next year and kind of see what you can do. And you can also send him down to the AHL if you really want to continue to bolster up your Barracuda team. And you might be able to flip Alexandar Georgiev at some point. So overall, I think it's a solid trade for Mike Grier. We knew it was probably coming at some point, even though I did a whole 10 minutes yesterday on why I don't think they should trade Mackenzie Blackwood. But again, I'm just an idiot with a microphone. So We'll be back tomorrow to talk about the Sharks Hurricanes game. So hopefully, Macklin Celebrini, please give me something fun to talk about. We'll do the mailbag episode that we were going to do today. We'll do that on Wednesday into Thursday. And then we got the Blues on Thursday night. So plenty of good stuff coming here at the Locked On Sharks. So make sure you follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Mike Fryhole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.